too damn stupid to keep your head together. Good Lord. Get it together, Draymond Green. Please. Please. Get back to where you were a few years ago when you weren't being this stupid, out-of-control bully. And you were just playing basketball with two of the best in the business. Please, I beg of you, take this reality check, put it in your mind, and get your act together. Whew. Now that I got that off my chest, I have a few things to say about the Chargers. And I'll say it correctly, the San Diego Chargers. Brandon Staley, finally, you fired. Get the hell out and stay out. My thoughts on the Chargers when y'all get back.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition, dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, go yourself again. Jason.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
And ever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. No, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pistol 90.
I'm going with my boys. Spins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
The incomparable Chris Bass. Booty! Sorry, can't help it. Okay. 36 after the hour. And the San Diego Chargers, give me this button here, have finally done something. The mistake is not fully corrected, but they finally fired Brandon Staley. Finally. You know, I'm handing these out like candy. I may as well hand out one more. Hey, Chargers, take one of these. I begin with the question.
What in the all types of blue hell
were you thinking when you hired Brandon Staley? Did you actually think that the analytics king would take your team somewhere? Did you actually think that? Why? What the hell were you? What the hell were you thinking? Well, did you think Brandon Staley would turn into Eric Coryell or Bobby Ross, a coach that actually took them to a Super Bowl? Let me speak on the Chargers overall, okay? Let me speak on the Chargers overall. Y'all have sucked since you left San Diego. Since you stupidly, let me say that again. Since you stupidly left San Diego. Hey, give me this cup here. And I'm trying to find something here to have as some background music. You stupidly, and I say it again, you stupidly left San Diego, and for what? And for what? To pay to be a tenant in a place where you don't belong? People don't care. Listen, people don't care about the Chargers. Hell, in many ways, people don't care about the doggone Rams. There, I found the song I'm looking for. People don't care about the doggone Rams. If Dean Spanos had enough balls to go back home to San Diego, he could write his check, man. He could write it. Man, Chargers. No. The party it would be and how much better the Chargers would be in San Diego. And yes, they were always the San Diego Chargers to me. Okay? Now, I started watching football in 1980. Oakland Raiders for the AFC Championship. Hell, Chargers won 2 consecutive AFC Championships. Yes, all as the San Diego Chargers. Los Angeles, and with a heck of a coach named Brandon Staley, who finally got fired, and the GM finally got sent packing. And you also have a chance to have some nerve and go home to San Diego. Dadgummit! What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you, Chargers? You're below the redheaded stepchild in Los Angeles. I mean, they don't even like the damn Rams.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
With over 30 years of experience, Madurix Butcher Block in Mineral Ridge is a quality-driven company focused on great personal service. Our fresh meats are of the finest cut. We make a variety of burgers, sausages, and a full line of deli meats. Using our own smokehouse, we prepare different types of jerky, snack sticks, kibasi, bacon, hot dogs, and bone-in hams. When your tummy needs some relief, call 652-BEEF. That's 330-652-2333.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry?
When all we want to talk about is football. high school, college, and pro football. There's one man set to bring it all to you. It's time for Just Football with Matt Emch. Matt was a first-time AP, all-offensive lineman with the Ursuline Irish and three-time national champion with Youngstown State. And now, here's Matt.
And welcome to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emch. Yes, we've been away for a couple weeks. I am really not going to get into the reason. Those of you that know me know why. I'm just happy to be here, excited to be back on the air. Obviously, a lot gone on since the last time we were here. Last time we were here, we talked about the Super Bowl coming up and who our picks were, and obviously, we saw what happened. Just to jump on real quick, just to let everyone know, in the next couple minutes, we're going to have somebody who usually is on towards the end of the program. We're going to have my partner in high school football, Matt Lipsack, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms, is going to be calling in about 2 minutes. And we're going to discuss some things that have been going on in the hockey world and see how the Phantoms have been going. A lot of exciting things in the near future that is going to be happening here on Western Reserve Radio. We have, just so that everyone knows, semi-pro football coming to the Mahoning County, actually the Tri-County area, just because it's the Mahoning Valley Federals football team, semi-pro football team, doesn't mean that it doesn't include the whole entire valley, the Tri-County area. Super exciting. I mean, come on, everybody. We are going to get football from, high school, semi-pro, college, pro. When the pro season ends, well, just about a month, a little bit longer than a month, maybe a month and a half to 2 months. Bam, right back into football. I mean, come on. This area, the Youngstown, Ohio area, one of the greatest cradles in America for coaching and players. The elite of the elite come out of the Youngstown area. Northeast Ohio is considered one of the absolute best in the country. You look at the Big Five, you have Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, and California. In fact, we're going to jump right on here. We got Matt Lipsack here on the line. Hey, Matty, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Good. I did not mute the phone, so everybody got to hear the phone ring there. But you know what? When you're in studio, you have that happen as well. So who do we have in the background there?
Alexis is here finishing her dinner. And when I say finishing her dinner, I mean eating what's left of my dinner because she already cleaned her plate.
There you go. Well, she usually joins us often, so it's good to have her back. How you been, brother?
I'm, staying out of trouble. Pretty much the same for the Phantoms for the most part. So I think the last time I was on the show, you and I talked the first weekend of January, I think it was, and
correct.
We were looking that maybe the Phantoms were going to be able to get a couple of positive results at the Cavelli Center that weekend with the last place team in the league coming in. Unfortunately, Youngstown only got 1 out of the 4 points that weekend, and that was actually in the middle of a 7-game winless streak.
Oh, boy.
Is where those two ended up landing. Since then, the Phantoms have righted the ship a little bit. I think 5-3-2 in their last 10 games. So not doing too shabby. Only, I think, 3 points out of second place in the Eastern Conference, which would get them a first-round bye in the playoffs. And we've got the number 1 team in the East coming in this weekend on Friday and Saturday. That's the Dubuque Fighting Saints. But can't forget about tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We're going to have the school day game, and the Waterloo Blackhawks are going to be joining us to entertain a nice crowd of school-age children here in the Mahoning Valley.
I mean, how can you beat that? I mean, normally you would be in class, and you're going to have these kids are going to be able to watch a hockey match. I mean, how can you beat that?
You can't beat it with a stick, Matt. Although I can tell you where my son will be. He will be in class because my wife said that a day of first grade was too important to miss for a hockey game.
I love it. You know, something that obviously we would always want to do when we were, you know, in school is any type of ability that we could have to get out of being in school would be phenomenal. But my God, to be able to watch a Phantoms game instead of going to class, I don't see how there's a downside to that.
There really isn't. We're going to have some educational videos on the Jumbotron during timeouts and intermission. You know, a good time is going to be had by all, I'm sure.
I love it. I can't wait to also hear the outcome of that matchup. You know, why don't you give us a little bit of specifics, though, Maddie, since it's been a while since you've been on, about what exactly has been going on with the Phantoms, please.
So after that 5-game, or I guess 7-game winless streak, the Phantoms finally snapped that. I want to say like last weekend of January or something like that. And then, like I said, you know, they've got points in 7 of their last 10 games, and they're sitting in 4th place in the Eastern Conference right now with 57 points. Right ahead of them is Muskegon with 58. And then ahead of Muskegon is Green Bay with 59. And then Dubuque, who, like I said, is coming in this weekend, has 66. Phantoms aren't that far out of first, but really, you want to get in those first 2 spots, get that first round bye in the opening round of the Clark Cup playoffs, because if you end up with, you know, in a best of 3, you know, you play one bad game in the opener, and then suddenly you find yourself down 1-0 and another loss ends your season. That's a lot of pressure. I'm not a fan of the best of 3 opening round, to say the least, and that is where I do not want to find myself again. The Phantoms have lost. Well, I guess they beat Cedar Rapids in a best of 3 last year, but before that they had lost 3 straight best of 3 series. So I want to try to avoid that opening round if at all possible.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we want to see them repeat as Clark Cup champs if possible. You know, what is your opinion, Matt? Looking at them right now, you know, if they were to enter into a championship series, them and, you know, who is number 1? Did you say Dubuque is number 1 right now?
Dubuque's number 1 in the East. The team that Youngstown played last year in the Clark Cup final, the Fargo Force, they are kind of running away with the regular season championship. I think they have, it's around the 80-point mark. They have like 33-5-2 or something crazy like that. They are running away with the Eastern, or not the Eastern Conference, but the Western Conference championship and the race for the overall regular season crown in the USHL. In fact, with the pace that that Fargo is playing right now, they may end up breaking the USHL record for not only wins in a season, but overall total points that a team scores in the standings. So Phantoms actually have a 2-game set with Fargo coming up in the middle of March. I think that's in about 3 weeks. Right now the Phantoms are in the middle of an 8-game homestand. We'd love to see you out at the Cavelli Center for the last, I guess we have 5 games left of this homestand. So we'd love to see you out at the Cavelli Center, but Youngstown's going to go out to Fargo here in a couple of weeks. And then, you know, Matt, I tell you, we're going to find out a lot about the Phantoms over the next couple of weeks, because their schedule is an absolute bear. So we got the Dubuque Fighting Saints coming in this weekend. We've got we've got Muskegon coming in the weekend after that. They're ahead of the Phantoms in the standings. Then the Phantoms go on, I think it's a 4-game road trip, 2 games against Fargo, number 1 in the West, 2 games against Sioux City, number 2 in the West. And then come back, you have the Madison Capitals, who are right below the Phantoms in the standings at number 5. And then one of the last weekends of the season, you have 3 in a row at the Covelli Center against the Green Bay Gamblers. They're number 2 in the East right now. So the schedule really doesn't let up until the final weekend of the season, when the Phantoms will be taking on Team USA's U17 squad. And the Team USA, they are in last place right now in the Eastern Conference. So really, we're going to find, like I said, we're going to find out a ton about the Youngstown Phantoms and how far they may go in the defense of their Clark Cup championship.
Now, we've discussed this before. Looking at the players that you guys have, or we have, because I'm a fan of them, but I mean, obviously not as involved as you are, you being the voice of the Phantoms. Looking at the players on the squad, who would you, if you were, say, a GM for, one of the NHL teams, who would be some of the players that you would definitely be looking at to add to your squad?
Well, so I'm going to start with a player who hasn't even had the opportunity to step on the ice for the Phantoms, because he took a very vicious and dirty shot in the preseason, and we've been waiting this long for him to make his Phantoms debut after an upper body injury, and that's Nate Lewis. And Matt, Nate is a physical specimen. I'm talking 6'5". I'm talking a lean 215.
Wow.
And then he's going to put on ice skates. And with the ice skates, he's probably going to be, around like 6'8".
That is definitely a imposing figure. Definitely not somebody that you want to, be getting close to the glass, if you know what I mean, against.
So that's where I'm going to start. Is you're going to want to take a look at Nate Lewis, who I believe has already been to a couple of development camps with the New York Rangers. You're also going to want to look at Charlie Serrato, who is ranked in the top 200 of North American skaters when NHL Central Scouting put out their midterm rankings. I think that was in the first couple weeks of January. But Charlie has a way more skill than he's really given credit for by those rankings. And, he had a hat trick this past weekend against the Chicago Steel in the Phantoms 7-1 drumming of Chicago, which, believe me, I love to see.
Nice.
So you're going to want to take a nice look at Charlie Serrato as well.
And is that about it for you, or there's got to be some more?
There's a couple more. Let me dig up my notes.
Not to put you on the spot here.
It's like you're making me pick between my favorite children or something. I love all these boys like they're my little brothers. All right, let's see here. Oh, Torrey Pittner, defenseman out of El Cerrito, California. He was ranked number 77 by NHL Central Scouting for North American skaters. 8 goals and somewhere in the area of, I think, 12 or 15 assists on the season. Torrey's having a very nice second season in a Youngstown uniform, and really a very good defenseman. A little bit of offense to his game, but you're not, and I say this, and then I'm going to explain, you don't notice him on the defensive end, and you don't notice him because he's not making mistakes, Matt. Mm-hmm. And that's a great thing to say about a defenseman.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what negative is there about that? Jeez. I mean, you guys have been stacked last year. This year sounds possibly like maybe you could be a little better. Is that your opinion?
If you look at a game-by-game comparison, the Phantoms are actually a few points ahead of the pace that they were at last year when they finished second in the Eastern Conference, then obviously went on to win a Clark Cup championship. So, at least on paper, the only place where really the Phantoms don't stack up is in the net, because how do you replace Jacob Fowler? That's a very difficult thing to do, and I'm just going to go ahead and say you don't replace Jacob Fowler. Colin Wynn has done an admirable job in the Youngstown net, and then little bit more than a month ago, the Phantoms brought in Aiden Wright from the New Hampshire Mountain Kings of the North American Hockey League, which is a kind of a tier below the Phantoms. And Aiden has been playing lights out. He's 6-1-1 in his first 8 starts, allowing less than 2 goals a game, and is stopping around 92% of the shots that have come his way. So the Phantoms are, they're starting to find some traction. Now we just need to try to get through this gauntlet of wrapping up the schedule and see how everything shakes out.
Well, we wish them the best of luck. We're going to definitely stay in touch with you over the coming weeks. And man, Matt, thank you so much for being here, brother. I mean, you are always welcome here and always wanted. Before we go, I did want to bring up, I was discussing before, you came on about this little thing called semi-pro football in the Mahoning Valley that, you and I are going to be calling some games for coming up here in June.
Looking forward to getting back in the booth with you and looking to see what the Mahoning Valley Federals, right? I've got that right?
Mahoning Valley Federals. And we're going to go right from that season. Not any break really at all. And we're going to jump back into the high school football season. So we're going to have tons of football, tons of time under our belt. And I can't wait to be calling games with you again, brother. Thank you for coming here tonight. I appreciate it.
No problem. I know Mark Means sent me the Mineral Ridge schedule. I think August 23rd is when we're getting back at it. So I am looking forward to it, brother. You take it easy.
All right, Matt. That's Matt Lipsack, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms. We'll be back, everybody. We're going to have Jim Craven coming on up soon. This is Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emch.
Cryptid Creatures. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hi, it's Brian. Join me and my co-host Todd as we investigate those things that go bump in the night. We'll talk to real people who have had real face-to-face encounters.
There's 2 of them across the creek at the big rocks.
With cryptid beings, from Bigfoot to aliens to even demons. By the end, you'll be asking, do I believe? Cryptid Creatures. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you tired of settling for mediocre wings at sky-high prices? Belleria Niles has some of the best wing prices in Trumbull County, with 12 wings for $10 with over 15 flavors to choose from. Mention this show, Just Football with Matt Emch, with your order and receive a free cheese puff until January 31st. Belleria at 602 Robbins Avenue, Niles, Ohio, 330-544-FOOD. That's 330-544-FOOD. Belleria, we sell taste one bite at a time.
Do you crave mysteries? Are you fascinated by the unexplained? Then summon your courage and plunge into the deep, dark abyss of what lurks beneath. A YouTube channel that dives into the unexplained, the supernatural, eyewitness reports, and more. The real question is, can you handle the truth? Simply search What Lurks Beneath on YouTube, if you think you're brave enough.
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emch. We are just waiting on Mr. Jim Craven to come back. And when he does, we will get on the line here. We got a lot of football here to talk. Obviously, Just Football with Matt Emch. Before Matt Lipsack came on, and again, we want to thank him for coming on here and, letting us know what's going on with the Youngstown Phantoms. We have, as I was saying, we have semi-pro football coming on. Just to let everyone know, we have a game coming up. It is going, let me grab here. I got this schedule, and the Mahoning Valley Federals developmental football team preseason games announced. May 11th, 2024, at home, Austintown Fitch High School, Austintown, Ohio. 4 p.m. kickoff versus the Steel City Kings of the BCFL. Now, the game being at Austintown Fitch, that's going to be a really good time. Great stadium. Definitely one of the nicest ones in the area. We're really excited to be calling these games for the Mahoning Valley Federals. We were very happy to sign this agreement with them. They heard what Western Reserve Radio does for the Youngstown Phantoms. Jim Craven, he does a great job setting things up. Dave Ferris as well. And then obviously Matt Lipsack calling the games for them. They loved what is being done, so they want to, get things going. And we're going to jump on the line here real quick. We got Jim Craven. Jim, how are you, sir?
Oh, outstanding. Busy day. So
yeah,
sit back and relax.
Well, I'm glad that you got that little side kind of note taken care of. I was just discussing, what we have coming up on May 11th at Austintown Fitch Stadium. We have the Mahoning Valley Federals playing in a preseason game against the Steel City Kings of the BCFL. And then May 18th at Marlington High School in Alliance, Ohio versus the 2023 National Semi-Pro Football Champion, 2023 Tri-Point Football League champion, the Ohio Gladiators of the TPFL kickoff to be decided. It's going to be exciting and coming up really soon.
Yeah, it's nice to have football back in the Valley. And you're going to be taking on two teams that are pretty good. Steel City Kings, very established now. They're going to be over in the Blue Collar Football League. They were in the Tri-Point last year. And then taking on the Ohio Gladiators, those owners over there. And I believe it's going to be David George, still the owner over there. Doug Horning is the GM. And they were former Western Reserve Scourge players. So some connection there. And certainly glad to see they are doing so well. They put a lot of work into that. But, John Galbraith, and I know he's been busting his behind to get the Federals going this year, too, as far as, setting up the roster. And they'll be playing in Youngstown this year. So they got a little deal with athletic director Ryan Bonacci over at St. Christine. So it'll be a nice environment. It's going to be a nice opportunity to come out and see some of our area players that you would see in high school on Friday nights, come out and play on Saturday afternoons or Saturday evenings. And very competitive football, though. Very good. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll tell you, it's great when you get to start football in mid-May and it doesn't end until, sometimes mid-November, even beginning of December.
Absolutely. I was just saying to Lipper, one of the great things is, we miss football. Matt's been missing it. I've been biting at the bit. The fact that we get to do it, get that preseason game, May 11th, I have to mention this, my dad's no longer here. That's his birthday. That's special to me, that I'm going to be getting a call with Matt, the first semi-pro football game for the Mahoning Valley Federals. First semi-pro team out of this area since, I don't know, some guy named Jim Craven was playing for the Western Reserve Scourge not too long ago. Seemed like just yesterday, right?
Yeah, it really does. And I'll tell you, the more I wake up and the more sore I feel in the morning, the more recent it feels. But excuse me, there's been some teams in the area since then that have either tried or, and just haven't had the traction. I think John is doing a great job over there with the Mahoning Valley Federals in terms of trying to establish some kind of foundation for a long-term run. And he's sitting on a lot of good things, including the history of football in this area, going back to the I think they were called the Partitions back in the 30s, and then all the way up till the Steel Valley Hard Hats, with the Mahoning Valley Hard Hats, either Youngstown Hard Hats. Excuse me, I'm getting my Federals and Hard Hats confused. But there's a rich history in this valley, and a lot of people don't know about that. You go all the way back to when the guys from the Youngstown Hard Hats were playing here. They were actually moved here from other regions of the country, worked a job while they were here, and then practiced and played football as well. So, we'd like to bring that back. It's affordable family fun. You come out on a Saturday afternoon and again, see the same guys that you would see on Friday night.
Agreed. And Mike Benner also helping John Galbraith do a good job there. Mike's been working really hard. I was talking about, you have this area here, obviously Northeast Ohio, Ohio in general, just an amazing football pool. But Northeast Ohio and the Youngstown, Ohio area, just, the cradle of coaches, they call it. You have so many players that go big time college, and it's definitely going to be something special. You get a lot of players who, for whatever reason, maybe they're an inch too short, don't get to further their career, or they go to a smaller school and they don't make it to the next level. Because let's be honest, you got 1% or less that make it to the NFL. You got amazing players that are going to get the ability to play again. I'm really excited. I think we could really see some excellent football. Do you see maybe down the road, maybe not even too long, maybe a kind of a repeat of what you guys did at the Scourge?
I would certainly hope so. It's not something that, we did and said, well, we hope nobody ever does it again. We really like the idea of having that. I like having, and you mentioned the players that maybe don't go on to do whatever, but still have that talent. And that gives them an opportunity to not only play again, but stay in the area, get the support from your family. And it's really different at this level, because now in high school, you had your parents there, you had administrators, fans. But you start playing at this level, you've got wives, girlfriends, children showing up. It's a different dynamic, and it's something that I know I love involving my son in. At the time, he was, 6, 7, 8 years old at the peak of everything, but he really enjoyed it. And I think those experiences for him carry on with him now. Not so much in football, wasn't a football player, or isn't a football player, but
heck of a hockey player, though.
Yeah, and that's, I think that exposure to being in the locker room and seeing those guys and how they worked hard and their attitudes, I think he carries that over to his own sport. And, it's worked for him. Not the biggest guy in the world, but it's going to be hard to outwork him. And he's seen a lot of that, because we were all that guy at one point. Talented, but you got 1,500 players a year in the NFL. Let's be honest. That's a speck on the map of a speck.
Mm-hmm.
And but again, the opportunity to play on a Saturday, and I'll tell you, there was a lot of times at the end of practices that, we would talk and I would tell all those guys, hey, look, I understand this isn't the NFL, that, we're not going to have 63,000 people in a stadium, but you know what, it's our NFL, and it's something that we took, invested a lot of pride and time in. And looking back now, I look at the roster from the Scourge and I say, wow, I miss those guys. You look at some other programs that maybe are struggling, and you look at your roster and say, wow, we had a special crew then. And I hope that John and Mike can find that same thing with the Federals, and start to get some traction, get some support. And we're a football area. But unfortunately, we're very high on the high school end of football. So this would be a graduation thing for folks in the area to come out and see. You go from high school, and then I think some of the names we would call on Friday nights now, we'll get to call them on Saturday afternoon. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and certainly I'm looking to get back to it. I love calling hockey, and of course we got lacrosse coming up. That's kind of the new thing, but nothing really takes the I guess importance over football. That's just that's a special thing to be able to do.
It is. And, if you, just to let everybody know, if you go to the Mahoning Valley Federal's developmental football team on Facebook, you can get an idea of not only, what's going on there. You can see some of the players. There's some great pictures on there. It also has connections, phone numbers for any of you guys out there that are thinking about maybe trying out that haven't done it yet. Yes, they've been practicing. Yes, but I'm sure they're not going to turn away maybe some great players or guys that want to help out. Also, if you go to mahoningvalleyfederals.org, it's a website. You can go check that out there. A lot of people, as you alluded to, Jim, don't realize, you have semi-pro, guys have to get themselves there. They got to make a lot of those payments, buy things themselves, pay to get themselves there. Could you, expand a little bit on, how difficult this is for some of these guys?
Well, of course, some programs are better than others
right.
in terms of their success. So you have the Erie Express up there with Paul Pennington, who does an absolutely phenomenal job. The Columbus Fire down there. So there are teams that have those abilities to provide things and give you opportunities. And then there's teams that, just don't. So there are guys that, will purchase their own equipment. They have to work during the week. They'll practice in the evenings and be there on Saturday. Travel's not easy. Of course, if you play for the Cleveland Cobras, Jesse Caldwell's got you on a charter bus going to wherever they're going, within reason. So, we headed down to Portsmouth last year and got to see the historical stadium down there. That was a really good time. And, it varies from team to team, but, as you build it and you get that backing and you can build that like-minded set with all of the players who start to set the foundation and the new players that come in follow that. It takes a couple of years, but they make a lot of sacrifices for this, and and then we know as we get older, maybe I don't want to say we get injured a little easier, but it's a little harder to recover.
Yes.
So you have to really have a steel mindset to be able to do this, to get up, play on Saturday, hope to all goodness that you're going to be able to kind of heal up on Sunday and then be able to go to work on Monday. So. Again, it's a lot of sacrifice, but, I think a lot of players would tell you, you do this because football's, for lack of a better term, an addiction. I mean, it's something you miss, and it's the peak of everything right out there. You're going one-on-one with the guy across from you, and a lot of young men miss that. And this is a great opportunity to fulfill that need, even with the sacrifices.
It is. It's a commitment. It's a labor of love. I would do anything I could if I could strap it up a few more times. Those days are long gone, but you know what? It's going to be awesome to see. I was looking here before we take a break. They've had some indoor practices. They've been utilizing athletics in Columbiana County or Columbiana, Ohio. They're going to be playing at St. Christine's, which is supposedly a decent football field. So again, their first preseason matchup is going to be at Austintown Fitch. So it's going to be fun. When we come back, we're going to be jumping into some college NCAA talk. So Jim, hold on. We'll be right back. You're listening to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emch.
Are you tired of settling for mediocre wings at sky-high prices? Belleria Niles has some of the best wing prices in Trumbull County, with 12 wings for $10 with over 15 flavors to choose from. Mention this show, Just Football with Matt Emch, with your order and receive a free cheese puff until January 31st. Belleria at 602 Robbins Avenue, Niles, Ohio. 330-544-FOOD. That's 330-544-FOOD. Belleria, we sell taste one bite at a time.
Do you crave mysteries? Are you fascinated by the unexplained? Then summon your courage and plunge into the deep, dark abyss of what lurks beneath. A YouTube channel that dives into the unexplained, the supernatural, eyewitness reports, and more. The real question is, can you handle the truth? Simply search What Lurks Beneath on YouTube, if you think you're brave enough.
In the Valley, football is king, and the Mahoning Valley Federals are looking to build the 2024 roster with talent forged in this area to compete for a Tri-Point Football League championship. If you're 18 and older and looking to return to the gridiron, call General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099 or visit the team on Facebook at Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley. From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I am Matt Emch, and let me bring Jim back on. I believe he is right here. Jim, how you doing again, sir?
Sorry, you caught me with my mouth full. That's embarrassing.
That's okay. Hey, you know what? You've got a busy day, man. You want to grub it up, you go right ahead. I was going to jump on here. We have, I was bringing up Mel Kiper's draft here. Let's see. All right, here we go. I'm gonna forward this to you real quick so that you have exactly, because what I had sent you earlier, for some reason, it wasn't popping up there. So let me throw this at you. So Mel Kiper, obviously everybody knows, what he loves to do. And he threw up let's do this. The first thing, the 16 NFL draft prospects with a true round one grade. So let's jump on that one there, Jim, because for whatever reason, you know what? It's not allowing me to get into that. So you know what? Let's jump from that. And what we're going to do, actually, here, I threw you all kinds of things here earlier. So let's do this as everyone is listening. What we're going to do is we're going to actually discuss one of the things that's big in college football right now. You have college football helmet communication. Obviously, NCAA expected to improve after the successful bowl experiments. They did it, so just like in the NFL, you have helmet communication. It's come into college football. They are looking to possibly throw that into this season. The Maryland Terrapins were one of the teams that used in-game communication during the bowl games last season. What are your thoughts first and foremost, Jim, on this situation? Just something that you expect, something that you think maybe they shouldn't be doing?
Oh, no. At first, I thought it was a little odd for the NFL. I wanted to see how they were going to deal with that. But one of the things that I found interesting is when you started watching the XFL and the USFL, they had the communication that you could hear through the broadcast. And I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And I see how it sped up the game. I think it took a little bit off the quarterback, too. I mean, there are certain quarterbacks that call their own plays. But it really, to me, was intriguing, again, with the XFL, USFL way they did it. But I don't see it being a difference in college. College is becoming so much like the pros now in terms of, just financially. I mean, you look at, you get 100,000 people at a Big Ten game in Michigan or Ohio State. But the technology end of it, I think, is fascinating. Although I would like to be able to hear what they're saying and see, just, from the fact that we've all played football, sometimes I just like to figure out what they're going to do before they do it and see if you can understand the language. And it really kind of shows you that those offenses at college or the NFL level are really complicated.
It's obscenely complicated. Just to let everybody know, when I played college football, we're going back into the early 90s. I played at Youngstown State for Jim Tressel, 91 through 94. Let me tell you something. I still, to this day, when I see or talk to some of my ex-teammates who are defensive linemen, I give them some guff, because when we got handed out our playbooks, I still have my playbook, and I'm not supposed to, but sorry, coach. it was basically when we left our meeting room and we were walking, I think we went to eat after we got our playbooks, comparing the offensive line's playbook to the defensive line's playbook is like comparing a comic book to the old telephone books. It is really ridiculous. People have no idea. You have that old mindset of, oh, big dumb football player. Well, let me explain something to you. And Jim, you played high school, you played semi-pro. There is no big dumb football player, especially when you're playing on offense. There is quite a bit. I would love to see, just your general armchair quarterback who thinks that they know so much about football to take a look at a playbook or even try and line up on the offensive line when you got to switch sides, you got to change things up. Not as easy as people think.
No, not at all. And you sometimes when you hear these calls coming into the helmet, you wonder, okay, how is he going to repeat all of that to the other 10 men on that side of the ball? And there's times when, and I find it fascinating, they're so complicated that the coaches will call something in, the quarterbacks will somehow abbreviate. It seems like they're getting half of it, and then they call the rest of it at the line.
Yeah.
So you could just tell that is a full-time job, as opposed to, just playing a sport. There's something to that.
There is. And you normally always see guys wearing wristbands. The quarterback has the plays on his wristband, just to let everybody know. So, for instance, you get an extremely difficult play called in. You hear at each position through that play certain keywords for each guy on that offense so that and just like Jim said, you go up to the line of scrimmage and there are some different calls made. You're changing plays as the line of scrimmage, you're making audibles, offensive linemen make audibles. It's not the old school, you line left tackle, right tackle, you switch sides. I played open tackle in college, which meant most of the time, unless we went double tights, I had no help out to my outside. So I had to deal with a lot of those faster, quicker guys. I was very happy a lot of times to get double tights and things like that. So not so easy, but going back to what we started this discussion about having the ability to have microphones on the field, you talked about you like being able to hear watching the game. I think it will educate our younger players. I'm not so sure, if I'm a huge fan of it. Like, you have some guys, talking about, like one gentleman, Loxley from Sporting News, he talked about, you're getting in a situation of almost playing a video game, a degree where you're in the quarterback's ear, or, hey, throw the ball to 13, or, throw it to number 13, or, get rid of it. Is that, the kind of changes that again, that you're cool with seeing? Is that just that, changes and heading into the future, so to speak, that you think college football should be grabbing?
Well, I know the NFL at some point, I think it's with 10 or 15 seconds, cuts off their mics.
Right.
So they're not going to get too much beyond that. Now the question is, how far does it go? And, at some point is the coach or the offensive coordinator, yelling at you, yeah, hit the out route, there it is. Did they evolve into that? And I think it would be interesting, just in the fact that, I don't know, from a quarterback aspect, can you handle all of that going on in your head as the play is developing? Because there's so much chaos. It looks so smooth when you see it on TV. It looks very choreographed, but during the live play, it's chaotic. And you rely on your muscle memory to do what you're supposed to do. And sometimes it doesn't always work out so well, but to have that added dynamic of some coach yelling in your ear, during the play, that would be interesting. And you would have to be a special individual to be able to process that all within, I guess, the average play lasts about 4 seconds. So there's a lot going on there. As an experiment, I think it would be fun. I don't know if it would be a long-term thing you would want to do. And basically, you could get, every 16-year-old plays Madden to be able to do that at that point. Now they're going to be football gurus.
Right. Well, it says here NCAA Football Rules Committee will meet February 28th, 29th. According to one source, rule changes related to helmet communication and tablet technology will be discussed. Whether that leads to rule changes for the 2024 college football season remains to be seen. But 6 bowl games used coach-to-player helmet communication, tablets in those games. The reviews for those coaches who used those changes were positive, even if there were some trial and error. Obviously, there are going to be trial and error. Sticking to the bowl games. We have not discussed, really that much. We did talk about, Michigan to a point winning the national championship, but we have not discussed what has occurred since said winning national championship. Your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh?
You heard the rumblings you heard the rumblings before the national championship. I think at some point he wanted to go back to the NFL. I mean, who doesn't? That's
right.
Kind of the pinnacle of football, and you're sending him back to where he's kind of familiar there. I mean, you're sending him out to San Diego. He was with San Francisco. So not surprised that he went. I'm surprised that Michigan did not counterbid the way that San Diego did.
Agreed.
But I guess at some point you have to draw the line financially what you're going to offer. But of course, they're going to have some changeover with the transfer portal and things like that. But I'd say congratulations to him. Good for him. He did an excellent job, I thought, with San Francisco. I don't know what the issue was with the administration that, that was cut short before he became the coach of Michigan. But certainly San Diego is going to be the talk of the league next year. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them on HBO's Hard Knocks to kind of follow that around because regardless of what you think, of Jim Harbaugh, he's an intriguing character, and people pay attention to see, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. I mean,
little strange,
which makes him very captivating,
right?
So he's going to make for good television, and I guess the bigger question for me, as being an Ohio State fan, is how is this going to affect Michigan, and what direction is that program going to come in? And the new head coach's name slips my mind, so I apologize.
Sharon Moore.
Yes, and he did an excellent job while Harbaugh was on suspension.
Mm-hmm.
So many questions left there. And, unlike the NFL, they're not as transparent in college when you go through the off season. But we'll certainly be able to see that coming up. And I probably have to honestly believe that Ohio State was kind of happy to see Jim Harbaugh head out to the West Coast after the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the guy has built a great program. I don't like saying it. We don't like hearing it. The majority of the people from this area, 3 years in a row, losing to that team from up north. I think things are going to change. Not obviously just because Jim Harbaugh is leaving. And let's real quick again. Let's not forget. He did extremely well on the West Coast when he, was at Stanford. Was lights out when he was at the San Francisco 49ers, was amazing. Took him to the Super Bowl. Definitely going to be very interesting. I think he's going to succeed no matter where he goes. The guy is phenomenal. I laughed at that comment that he gets to sit at the big boy table now with his dad and his brother at the dinner table now that he won a national championship. He might get that Super Bowl. You never know. How many times have the Chargers, been, so close to having a Super Bowl over the years and just couldn't get it?
Yeah, certainly. And there's some great pieces there. I can see why they were frustrated with the coaching staff. When you have that kind of talent, and certainly injuries play a part in a very long 17-game season, but you can't deny the success that Harbaugh has had wherever he's gone. And the personalities of his team, including this Michigan team, was just being mean and physical.
Offensive line phenomenal.
Oh, certainly. I love the linebacker play as well. I love that they flew around. His kryptonite was Urban Meyer, I think is what it was. And after Urban Meyer left, of course, Michigan kind of took the reins on that rivalry. And I certainly have no doubt that whatever goes on in San Diego, he's going to be successful. And certainly the AFC West has got something now to look out for in San Diego. And it's going to be an issue for them. And the first year, I think he's going to have a lot of success just because he's going to do maybe a little bit of a surprise. It'll be a new kind of atmosphere for them. Second and third year, I think he'll fall a little bit more into the norm of what he does, and it'll become more competitive. But he's, again, I wasn't sad when he left.
No, not at all. And, we're going to, after we come back from break, we're going to talk about Ohio State, and we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. I just want to say here real quick, Sharon Moore becomes the 21st head football coach in school history and is the first African American to lead the nation's winningest program in college football history. I want to believe with the recruiting and the transfer portal that happened to Ohio State, things are going to change. We will delve more into that when we come back to listen to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emch.
Experience nature's bounty with Creation's Backyard. Elevate your health with the most nutrient-dense foods on earth. From farm to table, sustainably cultivated with care. Grown locally in Niles, Ohio with no chemicals or synthetics ever. Unlock your culinary creativity with Creation Backyard Microgreens. Convenient local delivery and pickup options available. Order now at creationsbackyard.com or call 330-282-7208.
In the Valley, football is king, and the Mahoning Valley Federals are looking to build the 2024 roster with talent forged in this area to compete for a Tri-Point Football League championship. If you're 18 and older and looking to return to the gridiron, call General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099 or visit the team on Facebook at Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley.
SNK, painting your house today. SNK, painting your house
SNK Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities by being an industry leader in our field, focusing on customer service and delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solution. Call SNK Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910.
SNK, painting your house today.
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I am your host, Matt Emch. We still have Jim Craven on the line. He is guest hosting with me today. I always love when you're here with me, Jim. We have a good time, brother.
Yeah, I mean, this can only be the full-time job. We'd never work a day in our life.
You know what, though? But that's the goal, and I believe that that's where we're going to get there. What we discussed about before we broke, we were talking about that team from up north, obviously dominating the Buckeyes the last 3 years. I truly believe, honestly, with Harbaugh leaving, and not only that, I'm not so sure even if he was still there, with what has occurred with recruiting and with the transfer portal, if, it would be interesting to see. I'm with you, though. I'm happy to see him go. Ohio State has really loaded up for this season coming up. Ryan Day better do something, or you want to talk about his butt on the hot seat, it's going to get nuclear.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, what job can you have as a head coach where you have a 2% loss rate and be on the hot seat, because you can't beat one team? So certainly you look at the transfer portal, and essentially what this is becoming just free agency in college. So I think they've done an outstanding job. A lot of people are flocking there, but it doesn't seem like they're building for the future. It looks like they're building for 2024, and they mean business. And I think Ryan Day knows whether he'll admit it or not. This is going to be key for him in terms of, can we get over the hump with Michigan? Although I don't know how many years in a row Ohio State beat Michigan.
Right.
I thought that's what cost, I know that's what cost people like John Cooper his job.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's all be happy about that, because that brought in my old coach, Jim Tressel, who gave the legendary speech at the Ohio State Michigan basketball game that you will be proud of your football team when they play that team from up north. And boy, were we proud of those Buckeyes. He lost one time out of 12 years, I believe, to Michigan.
I believe you're probably in that neighborhood, but that was a guy who said everything right the first time he stepped on that basketball court to let them know, and it fed off of everything from there. Certainly, heartbreaking how that ended.
Yeah, it was. I have a lot of issues still with that. In terms of John Cooper, the guy was not from Ohio State. You're not from Ohio. How are you going to really get into that rivalry? You weren't brought up believing it, bleeding it, breathing it. And you have Jim Tressel, who absolutely knew everything about it and just unceremoniously just withdrawn from NCAA. Again, I have to always mention this. The guy took the brunt of a tattoo ridiculous situation. Then you have Butch Davis, who was involved in one of the NCAA's most unbelievable cheating scandals in history. Oh, and by the way, the next season he was coaching football again. So, but I want to, because we're getting close here to the end, talking about the transfer portal, talking about recruiting. Ohio State, I mean, and I don't know if did they have the number one recruiting class? If not number one, number two. I think they might have had number one, but looking at what Ohio State gained in 2024, Caleb Downs, the former 5-star safety, ranked number one as position in this transfer class, and number one overall came from, oh, by the way, Alabama, because Nick Saban is missing and not coaching there anymore. Quite a grab for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, certainly leaving a big program like Alabama, but you had to figure there was going to be some fallout from the coaching change. You knew it was going to happen some year, but it'll be interesting to see how that pans out with all the commitments that were made to players over the last couple of years that he would be there. But certainly you like the and I hate to say this, you like the SEC type of defensive backs are fast. They get to the point of attack really quick. So I think that's nothing but a plus for Ohio State. And that again, this is a team that's going to be built for just 1 or 2 years. And when the draft comes, you're going to see a ton of Buckeye players right back up there as well.
I agree. Paul Feinbaum, obviously huge Alabama guy, definitely, him as well as many other people in the know, jumping on Ohio State for number one team in the country, national championship. And let me tell you something. They have been darn close. I can't help but go back to the Georgia Ohio State game in the playoffs a couple years ago. That dirty shot on Harrison. If not for that, I truly believe the Buckeyes would have won the national championship. But with these players, I mean, another player, Julian Sand, former 5-star quarterback prospect, ranked number one as position in 2024 transfer cycle, number 6 overall, also switched from Alabama. Quinshawn Judkins, the former Ole Miss running back, ranked number one at his position, number 8 overall, 2024 transfer cycle, Ohio State. Will Howard, number 7 ranked transfer quarterback and number 34 overall transfer player, pledged Ohio State from Kansas State. Seth McLaughlin, 4-star center prospect, transfer from Alabama as a number 2 interior lineman, number 91 overall transfer. Will Kaczmarek, 3-star tight end, transfer from Ohio to Ohio State. Ohio State lost Julian Fleming, 4-star wide receiver. Noah Rogers, number 10 transfer wide receiver. Kyle McCord, Number 13 ranked transfer quarterback, Chip Trayanum, the 4-star quarterback, ranked number 9 position, number 6 ranked recruit, Ohio State transfers to Kentucky. Evan Pryor, 3-star running back transfer from Ohio State to Cincinnati. And you have quite a few others. Definitely going to have to watch those players for the. And we're getting close here. You know what, Jim? I wasn't keeping an eye here. Everybody?
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness.